case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone. These are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, and they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it, because they could right now, today, he could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country. Our country is in very bad shape. And
that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. Donald Trump was given every opportunity to defend himself.
You need a dramatic new industry, like the same way that we did with Silicon Valley back in the 90s and 2000s. We had a new industry, and that reinvigorated our nation and made our debt proportionally smaller. The only way that we're going to resolve the debt crisis is with a new industry. And the obvious industries for doing that are blockchain and AI. And we need to make sure not to drive them out of this country.
So Elizabeth Warren had a huge sway over crypto politics. And if anything happened in the last 2 weeks, her party said, Elizabeth, enough. Now you've got us in hot water with this giant group of crypto voters in a very tight election year, and we don't appreciate it.
You come from Goldman Sachs. You talk to institutions all the time. What are they saying?
Listen, the two biggest things that will shift the landscape in the U.S. around crypto is this accounting rule being passed or being overturned, and the market infrastructure bill. Right? What does the accounting rule do? It allows Bank of New York and State Street, the world's biggest custodians, to start custodying crypto. And the market structure bill, not good for me, because the day after it passes, Citibank's going to be calling the headhunters to call for my employees. But what has stopped Wall Street at large from being a participant in the digital markets is regulatory uncertainty. It's the fear that the Fed is going to call and say, no, you can't do that. The fear the SEC is going to be down their throat. The fear that they're going to get a Wells notice, just like almost all the crypto companies. And so as that goes away, you will see a stampede of Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Citibank and Jefferies and everybody else into this space.
The fact that the Fed, the various Fed members can get up every day and whip around all financial markets with a few words, or the nuances around a few words, is ridiculous. And right. It's just ridiculous. And the volatility that this is creating in the markets, that they are creating, and the boom busts that the Fed is creating, they blame everyone else, but it stems from errant monetary policy. So this idea of getting back to private money is very exciting.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have Trump and Biden going at it. And we know the masses love it. Divide and conquer. While their hard-earned money is being ran out the back door. And a new financial system is being built. And we have Robert F. Kennedy tells you a new industry needs to be developed in order to cut into this debt. And what does he say? Blockchain and AI. Remember, guys, what got us out the last Great Depression was manufacturing. The people were making their own products. Now, to get us out of this, they want the machines to make our own products. And humanity being taken out of the workforce. And of course, that means humanity is going to lose its power. And then we have Kathy Woods on the Fed. Just with a few words, they can sway the markets. Why is that, guys? because they already have an algorithm that's running the whole market. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the New York Stock Exchange CEO says they've been talking to the SEC for 6 years about a Bitcoin ETF. They shouldn't have to speak to him at all. Remember, guys, the New York Stock Exchange is already a broker-dealer. They can carry whatever asset. But the FTX, Binance, and all these other companies that collapsed wouldn't have been done. Bitcoin and crypto were supposed to replace the banks. Now we're seeing these same big banks taking over crypto. Why, guys? Because the big banks and big corporations were funding crypto from the beginning. And we have Mike Novogratz, of course, a Goldman Sachs guy. And what happens to just fall in his lap? That's right, the FTX fund. You can't make this stuff up. And he says the big banks are coming. And again, the big banks and big corporations were here from the beginning. And right now, they're trying to sell everyone that traditional finance is going to integrate these digital assets. But remember, guys, everything is going to be tokenized and put on blockchain. We went to T+1 today. And the fact is, guys, it took 100 years. Why? Because now the next step is real-time settlement. And they need plenty of liquidity. If you're part of the patrons, you understand. And we have Joseph Lubin says the banks want to win the rigged game. And guys, who's had their hands all over consensus and Ethereum? That's right, JP Morgan, because JP Morgan is building Fed 2.0 on blockchain. Never forget 2007 and 2008, Bitcoin came to life. But who was behind Bitcoin? That's right, the central banks. They came out with a perfect plan, and we're seeing it come all together. Instead of Bitcoin getting rid of the banks, it just made the banks stronger and have more power. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, we've been having conversations with the SEC for more than 6 years about Bitcoin ETFs. I think you can't argue with the success of Bitcoin ETFs and the liquidity it has brought to the underlying markets.
It's very incongruent to be wrapping vanilla money market funds on the crypto rails while wrapping Bitcoin on traditional ETF rails. But actually, it's part of a very long journey. And that journey is to be the bridge between traditional finance, where people have trillions and trillions of dollars of traditional assets held away from Bitcoin and other asset classes, and we would like to serve as that institutional quality bridge. That said, the rails are going to have to change. It took 100 years for traditional assets to go from T+2 settlement to T+1. Those rails are not going to be what changes tokenization. It's going to be the innovators in this room, but it needs to be done in a very safe and collaborative way.
Banks in America prefer to keep winning a rigged game, essentially. And those two entities would, I think, like to see American citizens disconnected from Ethereum so that they can keep their ways of operating intact. So that's the backdrop. And what we've been seeing from the current SEC administration for the last few years is deep and broad scrutiny of everything that we're doing. And it's not just us, it's virtually every company in our space.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis, whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, We have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.